You're watching The Whitney Reynolds Show.
Life has a way of throwing us a curveball or two. Our last guest never expected he would have to rescue his 5 nieces and nephews from foster care due to abuse. JJ Birden, known for being an NFL star, is now seen as a hero in the eyes of his family. Let's welcome him out. Thanks for joining us.
Well, it's good to be here, Whitney.
So you took in not just one kid, not just 2 kids, you have a whole van full. How did you get to that point that you decided that you were going to step in?
Well, I think it was one of those moments where you just kind of had to do what you got to do. My wife, we've been married 26 years, college sweetheart, Raina, and we had 3 children. That was the plan, and we had our 3. But 9 years ago, I suddenly received a call from my nephew, Justin, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He said, "Uncle, there's craziness going on here. You need to come check on us." So I flew out to Tulsa to check on my 5 nieces and nephews, and 24 hours later, I was standing in a courthouse before a judge, and the judge said, "Mr. Birden, we're going to take your 5 nieces and nephews and place them in separate foster homes. You're the next of kin, so what do you want to do?" That was the moment, and you're just like, what do you do?
So you flew out there just to do like your own little wellness check.
Right.
It was that bad at that point that they were going into court.
Yeah, it was that bad to where I was hesitant to go, but my wife was like, "You need to go. Something's not right." And then 24 hours later, I learned so much within that time that now I was faced with a decision on what to do with the children.
How did you decide that? Because today's show is about mentoring and stepping in, but you didn't just step in, you all of a sudden became like leader of a household, a whole house. Like, how did you do that?
Well, the first thing I did is I did what any smart husband would do. And I said, "Judge, let me call my wife first."
Very good point. I hope all the men are listening.
And that was really a 5-minute conversation with my wife, Raina, because we both realized that we couldn't just leave them. We had the ability, we had the desire, and we just said, "You know what, let's take them." And that's what I told the judge, and we just did it.
Were you still playing football at this time?
No, I wasn't playing football, but I was pretty busy working wise, and I had my own family going, so it was a big decision, but we saw it as an opportunity to impact 5 more lives.
Wow. That's what I always tell people that have stepped in these type of situations is, a lot of us hope that we're making our mark, but you are, because you can look into each of those faces saying, today you are where you are because we made a change. What have you been able to see in the lives of these kids since they've come in your way?
Well, I think one, stability. They didn't have much stability. It was a little bit of chaos they were living amongst. And, we wanted them to be a part of a family unit that's all about love and caring and support and a little structure too. They weren't used to that.
Structure.
But it was nice because they quickly adapted. They just merged into the family. We said, "Here's the rules," and they merged. And there were some challenges early on, but eventually we all just kind of became one happy family.
Was it tough on the family member that they had to get taken away from? How did that go down?
Well, that was, it was kind of not by choice, because when they realized they were going to lose the children, one of them recognized that I was the best choice. So the guardianship papers were signed before I was even faced with that decision.
Oh, wow.
So one of them was at least in a mindset that they realized that I was the best choice.
So is it something where they are able to go back and visit that area of their life? Or is it completely, once they got under your wing, it was like, we got to get you on this road for a long enough time to be stable?
Yeah, great question. All of them, well, let me rephrase that. One of them, the oldest, he was with us for some time. And when we got him, he was about 16, and we got him through high school. And he felt he needed to go back. And he went back. And since he's been back, he's continued to text and reach out to me. "I regret it. I should have stayed with you guys." Now he's dealing with some similar problems that his parents are dealing with. But the other 4, they recognize right away, we're going to stay put. We like what's going on here, and we like the environment and the lessons we're learning. So I think they have really learned from even a mistake that the older brother made.
Do you embrace their former life? Like, do you talk about their parents? Do you integrate that into their lives? Because sometimes it seems like such a drastic shift when kids move out of their home and into another home. And it's almost like the stepfather type thing. The kids almost become rebellious. How do you keep their old family still alive in their lives?
we do still talk about their old family because I want them to embrace it. I also want them to recognize who their parents are. You know, maybe the parents made some tough decisions, but they're still their parents. I'm just the uncle. You know, my wife, she's the aunt. So I do share some different stories about them because I also want them to learn from some of the mistakes they made too, so that they don't obviously repeat those mistakes.
What advice would you give to other people that are maybe put in this position or might face this coming up in their life? Like, what would you say?
Well, I think, realize that sometimes in life you're thrown a curveball and you gotta call an audible. Let's use a football term there. You gotta call an audible. And sometimes you have plans and you expect your life to go this way and you're throwing these curveballs and sometimes you just gotta sit back, process the information, make a decision, and then commit to it. You commit to it because that's what we did. Yeah, it was overwhelming, but we started really analyzing it. And we thought, you know what, we got to do this for these children, and we're going to commit to it. And I have no regrets at all. And it's nice when you have a partner.
Yes.
Because having my wife, having that partner there's no way I could do it by myself.
Well, you are so positive. You've actually gone on to write a book about positivity. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was excited to write my book. It's called When Opportunity Knocks, 8 Surefire Ways to Take Advantage. And I wrote it first because I'm a former NFL football player. I was the little guy, you're too small, and I proved everybody wrong. But I saw so many people in life have opportunities to achieve something, a dream, a goal, or whatever. But they allowed life or someone else to steal their dream. So I want to encourage people that, opportunities are out there and you can go get them, but it's going to take a little work.
Absolutely.
It's going to take some commitment, but it's worth it.
An opportunity called 5 Kids knocked right on your door.
Exactly. Opportunity knocked and we responded.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Today's guests have taught us that through positive influence, encouragement, and being a good support system for kids, we can help transform their lives. For more information on today's show, visit whitneyreynolds.com.